Hey everybody, this is Sam coming to you with another video. This is one that's been requested by a lot of people. I'm not really sure why, because it's a pretty personal thing as far as what each person wants to do. There is no real right way to it, but everybody wants to know about the setup of the carbine. And I think a lot of that comes to the fact that I've used a ton of different things over the years. Even over the past year, it seems like it went to hyperdrive and I was constantly switching stuff up. And I mean, y'all have all gave me a good bit of grief for it, for good reason. But I'm always trying things. Number one, I'm in a position that I can try these things. That way I can get information out to y'all. A lot of times I'll either make a specific post on it, or someone will ask me, hey, what about this, because they've seen me use it in the past, and I can tell them a relatively informed position on the matter that helps them know whether they need to spend that money or not. It's not that I have a ton of money in the world. Most of what I do, I started off with a certain amount that I saved up and sold for, and then I buy quality stuff, and if it doesn't work out, I sell it. I may take a little bit of hit. Usually I break even on it. That goes towards the next thing. So generally speaking, it's not that I have a ton of money. I'm just kind of smart about it when I do it. I don't get anything for free. I've yet to get anything for free. Oh, I take that back. The light cap from 100 Concepts, they gave me a discount to where I only paid shipping on that. So full disclosure there. Outside of that, everything has been paid for by myself. And y'all want to know about it, so let's go ahead and get into it. The rifle itself is a combination upper and lower from Weapon Outfitters. So by that I mean they did not make the product, they assembled it for me to my specifications, and they had all of it in stock at the time. I tried a lot of different barrel lengths, and I really fell in love with that 13.9 barrel length for a general purpose rifle. It's not so short that I have to deal with the braces and SBRing and everything else. And it's not so long that it's kind of cumbersome in the woods or doing things, especially since I have a suppressor on there now. So the heart of the rifle, the bolt carrier group, is a Bootleg Industries bolt carrier group. I'll go ahead and empty mag, I'll send it forward. As a Bootleg Industries bolt carrier group, I'll try and get that in film, probably not showing up. I really like that. It really came into its own with the suppressor. The other day I posted a video where I was doing both Tula and 55 grain gold dot, and it was super nice to be able to tune that to run consistently and reliably with both ammos, because Tula's pretty light, gold dot's a full power load. Past that, the barrel is a Ballistic Advantage Hansen barrel. It is a 13.9, it's their Hansen contour, so it's that kind of continuous taper. If I had my rathers, it would have been a Criterion Core 13.9. That wasn't an option, and I really wasn't just super concerned with it if or when anyways I shoot out the barrel, because I have shot them out in the past. Not Ballistic Advantage, but just barrels in general. I will rebarrel it to a Criterion Core 13.9 just to get that chrome line, as well as I find Criterion barrels to be really accurate, even with just junk 55 grain. The Ballistic Advantage barrel has been plenty accurate. I don't have any qualms about it. It will just come down to barrel life, because it's a QPQ barrel and not chrome lined. Let's see here. Gas block is Ballistic Advantage. It's pinned in. That's my preference, and that was kind of a default thing for the barrel. In this regard, I prefer them to be pinned as opposed to just simply set screwed, because I have had them walk out over time, even with Loctite and Vibratight, and the gas block get a little wonky. The gas tube itself, I'm pretty sure was stainless. I can't even remember what I went with. The handguard or rail, depending on how you want to call it, I'm going to call it a rail because there's a rail section on the top. I don't really care. Is a Sons of Liberty Gunworks M89. It's their new, I want to say they call it dry block. I can't remember exactly. It's not pinch lock or wedge lock. It may be. I don't really know. I don't get into the minutia of the descriptions too often. That was something that people that I trusted said, hey, you should try it, because I like a little bit girthier rail. I've got really big hands, so like the real thin handguards from places like Midwest Industries and ALG, they're really small in my hands. They never really felt right. That's one of the reasons I've always kind of gravitated to quad rails in general, or like the bigger Gosley rails, because they're a little bit girthier. I can get a little bit better grasp on them. And that's just kind of, that again is a personal thing. It's so far I've really enjoyed it. It's kind of like It's not as thick or as big as the Gosleys, but it's not as small or as thin as the Midwest Industries slimline top rails. It's a nice happy medium, and I really do like it a lot. I don't have a laser. They say they're super stiff. I mean, I have no reason to disagree. I don't run a laser, at least not as of right now. I have in the past, but as of right now I'm not running one, so it's not something that I can really comment on. I haven't experienced any deviation using it sling supported or up against barricades or anything like that in my testing so far. I haven't had it super long, so that may for some reason be subject to change. I don't expect it to be. The muzzle device underneath the suppressor, slide that down. The muzzle device underneath the suppressor is a forward control designs 6315 chemo mount. I really like it because it is, when the suppressor's not on here, it's a closed tine A2 style flash hider, and that's really my preference. I don't like open tine muzzle devices. I don't like the ping. I don't like the snag hazard. I've had them snag on vegetation and stuff in the past. They're also generally not as durable, so if you bang them into something, you can always warp one of the tines or break one off. That's been the problem with some in the past. Suppressor is Omega 300 from Psycho. That's silencer go, just so you know. I have converted to chemo, and I put a 5.56 flat end cap on there to save a little bit on the length. I'm really liking it so far. I haven't shot it a ton. It's still relatively new. I'm still relatively new to the world of suppressors. It didn't add near as much length or weight as I was expecting, which is nice. I could save a little bit by going with something like a Reardon Atlas direct thread mount for the muzzle device, and that may be something I do in the future if for some reason I'm not happy with the chemo from Dead Air. That is, like I said, it's a full controls design Dead Air variant, and I'm really happy with that as far as the muzzle device goes. The light is a Surefire Vampire. I'm 100% passive on this setup. I'm actually pretty happy with how that's going so far. I've been a fan of it and kind of promoting passive setups for the better part of a year. I find them to be probably the most cost prohibitive as well as functional option out there outside of lasers. Even, you know, if you just take the whole near peer threat thing off the map, I find them to be still extremely versatile and useful, especially if you pair it with an optic setup that works for passive aiming, which you should be. And I'm going to go into a video on that a little bit later on for my reasonings why on that. This is just a setup discussion. The mount is a Impact Weapons Components Thorntail. I had that from back when I was running a quad rail. I didn't feel the need at the time to switch. I will probably switch to my preferred M-Lock setup, which is a Arasaka inline. That will bump the light a little bit farther forward. I didn't really want to do that prior to getting the suppressor because I don't like my lights up next to the muzzle device or forward of it. With the suppressor on there, it's not an issue, so I'll put that on there. It'll bump the light a little bit farther forward, save a little bit of weight because these are a little bit chunky for a light mount, simply because they're made to go on to 1913 rail. Sights, front and rear, are Magpul Pros. I prefer those. They're really just out of the way when they're not down. They're metal. They lock up really good and stiff. I don't have to worry about them getting hit and falling over. They do not lock in the upright position. That's kind of user preference in the end. I've had Troys in the past that did lock up in the upright position, and that's nice and all, but it's not necessarily mandatory if you've got something that's got a lot of tension on it, like the Magpul Pros. The light cap, like I said, is the 100 Concepts light cap. I just recently got it in, haven't had a whole lot of time with it. So far I'm very impressed given the design and what you can do with it compared to something like a Butler Creek cap, which I've had in the past. The main goals for that is to, you know, knock out any shine or flash. So if you're in the woods doing in the woods things, or, you know, operating, you don't want that flash giving away your position. That covers that. And also, if you don't have a suppressor, it keeps soot and carbon buildup off your bezel if you are running it very close to your muzzle device. The benefit so far to this that I've found compared to the Butler Creek is the Butler Creek, because I was running a Vampire and you rotate the head to go between IR and white light. Depending on the position, the Butler Creek cap never really ended up in a good position where it wasn't in the way or snagging on something or hitting on something, and I broke one and replaced it with another, and then this came along and I finally got around to trying that out, and so far I'm extremely happy with it. Let's see here, we'll go ahead and do kind of top down from here. I'm using EOTech EXPS3 and the G33 magnifier. That's on factory mounts on top of a Yankee Hill machine. I want to say it's a 1/2 inch riser. Don't quote me on that. I wanted to try the higher riser and see if I really benefited anything on it outside of lower 1/3. I'm loving it. I'll probably end up moving to a Unity setup if I can find one whenever I have the funds, and I will go to that simply to have the flip to center option for the magnifier. It just helps with a little bit of the offset balance as well as snag. I haven't really ran into the snag issue. I do feel the offset balance a little bit, and it would be nice to have everything kind of in line and streamlined that way. Outside of that, if that's not your concern, the Yankee Hill Machine riser is a really solid budget option to raise that up to the exact same height and accomplish the same goal. You just still have the flip to side instead of flip to center. The receiver itself, real quick, Magpul Pro rear. Like I said, I'm running front and rear on that. The Radian SD charging handle. I wanted to optimize this as much as possible for suppression. In terms of gas blowback to the face, I am a left-handed shooter, so I have a lot more that I have to deal with than most right-handed shooters. So with that, I wanted to optimize it as much as possible. That's where the bootleg carrier and the Radian Raptor SD suppressor, I don't know what the SD necessarily stands for, that's where all that came into play. And it does help a lot. Even with the really hot 55 grain gold dots, I didn't experience a whole lot of gas in the face, and what I did experience would be pretty much mitigated with any type of breeze or iPro. So I'm pretty happy with how that's turned out. Going down, the receiver itself is a Viltor mod. Honestly, I can't even remember. I'm trying to see. I painted over it. I was trying to see if I could see it. Anyways, it's the mod 1 or something like that. It's a standard normal mil spec receiver with the change up being that the forward assist is pushed forward, which is really handy for a left-handed shooter like me. When they're in the actual typical rearward position, my thumb tends to snag on it, especially if I'm running the thumb on this side, or if I'm running the charging handle from this side. I will either jam my thumb into the actual forward assist itself, or I'll rack my my knuckle or my index fingernail off the top of the forward assist. That's not an issue anymore thanks to this being pushed forward. The benefit to this option as opposed to some is this is not a proprietary part, it's just a proprietary location. So if this for some reason fails, I can swap it out with a standard mil-spec forward assist, and there's no change. It's just in a different position. It's a standard forward assist, nothing weird going on there, which I prefer. I try to keep things as non-proprietary as possible within the realm of possibility. Let's see, stepping down, this is the Sons of Gunworks forward control designs collaboration ambidextrous lower receiver. That was a mouthful. Basically what it is it's got ambidextrous controls built into the forward or into the lower receiver. So I've got an ambidextrous bolt release right here. I've got standard mag release here. I've got a Talon, a Radian Talon 45-degree throw selector right there. On the other side, it has got a ambidextrous magazine release and an ambidextrous or a standard bolt release or bolt lock that is oversized and changed. I did opt for dimples because I thought they looked cool, and from what I've been told, they tend to be a little bit more grabby than serrations. That's about the same to me as far as I can tell. I don't really notice anything more or less. I think it just kind of comes down to an aesthetics thing, and that's what I could find in stock, and it worked out. So is what it is there. Trigger is an ALG ACT. That's my preferred non-fancy trigger. That's a really, as far as trigger goes, that's a pretty moderate cost upgrade that's still mil-spec as far as weight and setup goes. It's not a two-stage. That's about the only thing I don't like about it. I do like a two-stage trigger in my ARs. Just for a distance or precision shot, I can stage it and then break the shot if I need to. One of the nice things is it does have a built-in flared mag well, so it does help a little bit on reloads, and it has a built-in winterized trigger guard, which is really nice for gloves and everything else. I found that to be quite beneficial. It also marries into the grip a lot better than the standard ones that you get a pretty significant ledge there that really messes up your knuckle. Let's see here. The grip is the Magpul K2XL. Like I said, I've got giant hands. So for me, The K2 XL was nice. I've always liked the K2 grip. I've pretty much used it since it came out. The XL was just nice because it just fills the hand a little bit more. It allows a little bit more control. It's still got storage capability. It's actually got the lube bottle in there, along with a wipe and a spare. Well, actually, it doesn't have a spare battery now. I no longer have to carry a spare battery in my grip because everything runs off of a 123, which I keep 6 of in the stock. Moving back, Full Control Designs Castle Nut, standard mil-spec receiver extension. Inside the extension is a white Springco spring and an H3 buffer. I wanted something similar to an A5 system without going to an A5 system. I talked around, and my buddy over at Z Tactical was like, hey, you should try that. Seems to work really well. And I have no complaints. The recoil impulse of this thing is absolutely insane, and I love it. It's reliable. I have no issues with it. Works really good suppressed or unsuppressed. So there it is. It's also not proprietary. So if this thing, for whatever reason, I fall on it and bend the tube or shear it off or something like that, I can find a local gun store that sells extensions, break it off, put a new one on there, and I'm good to go. No real changes there. I don't have any proprietary there. Stock is a Magpul SLS, so it's the storage capable slimline design. I liked the original slimline a lot, and then I wanted to try the SLS one because I wanted to carry onboard batteries because I'm weird like that. And I picked it up, and I liked it so far. I have no complaints. So I can carry, I've got 6 CR123s total in here, 3 on one side, 3 on the other. That gives me a total of 2 complete battery changes for the entire rifle. So 1 for the EOTech, 2 for the Surefire if I need to, or any combination thereof. So that's just kind of a, if for whatever reason the only thing I have is my rifle and I need to change the batteries, then I have that option and capability. Lastly is the sling. I talked on this a little bit in the last video. It is a Spirited Systems Sierra Tac sling. I think that's just pretty much all the wording on it. It's a semi-light padded sling. It is in multicam arid for what it matters to some. Let me flip that around so you can see a little bit better. Have it ran through the stock in the rear, and then I have a front QD. Like I mentioned in the video, this is my preferred setup. It's worked really good for me over the last several years, and I don't really have any complaints or qualms about it. The sling, I'm still testing it so far. I'm really liking it. It's probably my favorite padded sling that I've tried so far. I really like the slide adjuster. I like the design of it, and so far it really has been great. So that is pretty much it. I run PMags, and I've got anything from Gen 1 to Gen 3 PMags floating around in my storage, and I use those all with equal thoroughfare. So PMags are good to go as far as I'm concerned. If you are someone who's now frantically typing in the comments, what other mags can we use? Surefeeds are metal mags. Surefeeds are good. I've had good results with those. I have broken Lancer mags. I'm not a big fan of those. I haven't played with hex mags, but from everything I hear, they're really not that great. As far as I'm concerned, the standard is the PMag, especially the Gen 3. So if you can get your hands on Gen 3 PMags and you can stock them deep, that's what I do. That's what I did. I've got plenty. So those are definitely the go-to. Real quick, because I'm sure someone will ask, yes, I'm running a clicky tail cap. I don't really like leads of any type. I don't like tape switches. I've used them in the past. I've had problems with them in the past. I'll either ND something, or it'll snag and pull out, or something like that. If I can, I'm running a clicky tail cap. If I end up with a laser in the future, it's going to be one that I can run without a tape switch of some kind, and it will still work with my light. So that's kind of the continual search mission for that, is something that will work out that way. So anyways, guys, that is the current state of the stick. So I hope that answered your questions. If you have any other questions, make sure you throw them down in the comments. As always, go check out my Instagram. Personal is Mr. Sam Culpepper, as well as Omni Apparatus Training and Consulting. That's the training company that I'm hoping to get up and going after the first of the year. Steadily making progress on that. Also check out the website hitthewoodline.org. I'm a co-owner and writer for them. That's more of the in the woods type stuff. And if you have any armor needs, make sure you check out my only sponsor that I have so far, which is AT Armor. Mike's a great dude. I've had nothing but great experiences with him. Even post us agreeing to work together, it's been absolutely awesome. Honestly, he's a great dude, and it's a great company. And I've said it before in the past when I wasn't sponsored by anyone. I'm not going to sponsor or sign up with someone that I don't trust or wouldn't rep for me personally. I'm not in this to make money. I'm in this to make more better prepared citizens, and that's Mike's goal as well and his company. So seriously, if you have a need for armor, go check him out. I have an affiliate link that will be in the comments here or the description here, as well as on my Instagram page. If you use that, it helps me out, but I'm not saying you have to today. If you don't want to help me out, I don't really care. Go check out Mike and do business with them because they're good people. Anyways, guys, I think that's it. Hopefully this will be released today. If not, it will be released soon. And hopefully the video blur app thing I can get working too. So anyways, take it easy, guys. As always, stay safe. God be with you and your families.